In the quiet town of Maplewood, a sense of loss lingered in the air. Alex Carter stood outside the grand estate that had once felt like home, but now bore the weight of their siblings' triumph. Jordan Carter, always the golden child, had inherited everything from their mother, Margaret. The news hit Alex like a cold wave, overlooked and underappreciated. They grappled with feelings of injustice. Memories flooded back as Alex recalled years spent supporting their family. They sacrificed countless opportunities, while Jordan basked in the admiration bestowed upon them by both parents and friends. The accolades Jordan received often overshadowed any effort Alex made to contribute to family dynamics. Those moments where they had gone above and beyond felt trivial compared to Jordan's achievements. The estate gathering celebrating this new chapter for Jordan. Every corner echoed laughter and congratulations, each sentiment feeling like a dagger to Alex's heart. Surrounded by relatives who shared stories of Jordan's successes, Alex felt an aching emptiness, a stranger in what was once their sanctuary. As tension mounted within them, they spotted Henry Carter, their father. His warm smile cracked slightly when he noticed Alex's distant demeanor. Although he meant well, his attention remained fixed on Jordan's accomplishments rather than acknowledging Alex's sacrifices. For a brief moment, disappointment flickered across Henry's face, an unspoken recognition of how blind he had been to all that Alex had given up for the family. Standing in the shadows of grandeur built around someone else's victories, frustration bubbled inside Alex. How could it be fair that everything was handed to someone who seemingly didn't understand or appreciate what it took to maintain harmony? Each small grievance added fuel to a fire igniting within, a determination brewing against this perceived injustice. Night fell and guests began to depart one by one, leaving behind remnants of celebration and joy and hollow silence for Alex. They wandered into an empty room filled with memories of childhood warmth turned bitter. Gazing at photographs depicting happier times when laughter rang through these walls without competition, or resentment stirred something deep within them. This was not just about money or property. It was about recognition, the desire for acknowledgement after years spent in service to a family that chose favorites over fairness. And so there it was, an awakening realization that perhaps it was time for change to reclaim not only what should have been theirs, but also their dignity. That dimly lit room surrounded by echoes from days gone by. Determination washed over them like moonlight breaking through dark clouds on a stormy night. It became clear, celebrated what belonged solely to Jordan today. There existed untapped potential lurking deep within them, waiting patiently for its chance to rise and confront this imbalance head-on with strength fueled by righteous indignation. The family dinner celebrating Jordan's new inheritance. The atmosphere felt thick with tension. A grand dining table was adorned with extravagant decorations that seemed to mock Alex's sense of belonging. As laughter erupted around them, Alex sat in silence, their heart heavy with unspoken resentment. Jordan stood at the head of the table, basking in the praise from relatives who couldn't help but fawn over his supposed brilliance and charm. "You really deserve this, Jordan," one aunt exclaimed, raising her glass in a toast. "No one could have managed things better than you." Each compliment directed towards Jordan felt like a dagger piercing through Alex's soul. They glanced down at their plate, pushing food around absent-mindedly, while feeling invisible amongst those who should have recognized their contributions. The evening wore on. Casual conversations began to shift towards more personal topics, each word laced with undertones that belittled Alex's achievements. "What's next for you, Alex?" a cousin asked playfully but without any real interest. The question hung in the air, unanswered. It stung all too deeply. Later in the evening, as dessert was served and everyone indulged in sweet treats, an overheard conversation between Henry and a few family friends caught Alex off guard. "I plan to invest quite a bit into renovations for Jordan's place," Henry said confidently. "He deserves to live well after everything he's been through." The words struck like lightning. Alex felt utterly humiliated and betrayed. And so much to this family. The late nights spent caring for their mother during illness, while Jordan pursued his dreams without looking back, yet here, they were being overlooked once again. At night, alone in their childhood room surrounded by mementos of happier times that now felt tainted with bitterness, Alex confided in Emily through a series of frantic texts detailing every hurtful moment from dinner. Emily responded immediately. "Just let this go. There are legal loopholes we can explore regarding your mom's will." Fueled by both anger and determination after reading Emily's messages, thoughts began swirling in Alex's mind about contesting Margaret's, will do to undo influence exerted by Jordan during her last days. Let's meet up tomorrow, Emily suggested over the phone when they talked later that night. Figure out how you can fight back. Alex nodded to themselves despite being alone. There was finally a flicker of hope amidst all this darkness, a chance to reclaim what was rightfully theirs, and ensure justice was served against those who had taken them for granted for far too long. Tomorrow would mark the beginning of something new, a stand against injustice brewed within them, as they plotted their course forward alongside Emily's unwavering support. Alex felt a surge of adrenaline coursing through them as they left the estate that evening, the echo of laughter still ringing in their ears. A humiliation stung deeply, but with each step away from the lavish grounds, a new sense of purpose started to crystallize. It couldn't stand idly by any longer while Jordan basked in glory that came at such a steep cost to their own spirit. The next day, Alex met with Emily at their favorite cafe, a cozy nook filled with soft light and warm aromas. They sat across from each other. Alex laid out their thoughts like pieces of an intricate puzzle waiting to be solved. Emily listened intently, her brow furrowed in concentration as Alex recounted overheard conversations and subtle hints dropped by family members regarding their mother's last days. Think this is just about money? Alex began hesitantly. Deeper than that. I need to confront what happened when Mom was making those decisions. I can't let Jordan get away with this. Emily nodded emphatically. We're right. The way she changed her will so suddenly. That definitely raises questions about undue influence. Her eyes sparkled with conviction as she leaned closer. Dig deeper into this, see if there's a way to challenge the will legally. With newfound determination, they pored over documents and searched for any evidence that could support their case. They uncovered conversations between Margaret and Jordan that raised eyebrows, and pointed towards manipulation, a few whispered words exchanged behind closed doors that spoke volumes about how pressure can distort love into something darker. After several intense meetings fueled by coffee and urgency, Alex decided it was time to take action. They reached out to Linda Parker, the family attorney who had handled Margaret's affairs for years, but whose loyalty should lie with justice rather than favoritism. Linda's office, surrounded by shelves lined with legal books and memorabilia from past cases, Alex laid out their findings, testimonies from family friends who had seen the changes in Margaret leading up to her death. Listened carefully before responding. You have a strong case here, she said thoughtfully after reviewing everything presented before her. We can prove that Jordan pressured your mother into changing her will under duress or manipulation. We might be able to overturn it. A flicker of hope ignited within Alex. It was time for justice, or at least an attempt at reclaiming what had been taken from them unjustly. The courtroom became a battleground where emotions clashed against cold facts as the trial commenced weeks later. Tension filled the air like static electricity, as witnesses took turns sharing intimate memories of Margaret, their stories, painting vivid pictures of both siblings' dynamics during those crucial final moments. Each piece of testimony chipped away at Jordan's facade. Whispers among relatives revealed glimpses into how his charm often masked more sinister motives beneath its surface. Linda presented evidence showcasing conflicting accounts about Margaret's true intentions regarding inheritance distribution. Gasps erupted from spectators seated behind each sibling's camp. It all remained one unwavering truth. Alex held steadfastly onto every ounce of grit cultivated through years, spent living in someone else's shadow, a fire burning brightly now ignited by righteous fury against betrayal masquerading itself as love within familial bonds gone awry. Closing arguments loomed closer on the horizon amid mounting suspense surrounding verdicts yet unseen. Each moment felt charged with possibility. Hopes juxtaposed against fears lurking just beyond reach. Would justice prevail? Or would ominence remain intact through lineage alone? Silence settled heavily like snowflakes drifting down on stillness surrounding those gathered awaiting Judgment Day. Hearts raced alongside each tick marking time until finally truth emerged. Victorious amidst chaos enveloping lives, once intertwined now torn apart by greed, cloaked beneath false pretenses long enough forgotten. /N, in the aftermath of the courtroom drama, the air felt heavy with a mixture of relief and disbelief. The gavel had struck down in favor of Alex Carter, echoing like a triumphant anthem through the grand halls of justice. They stood there, heart racing as the implications sank in. They had not only secured their fair share, but also gained control over significant assets that were meant for Jordan. As reality settled in, Alex found themselves grappling with a flurry of emotions. Standing outside the courthouse, They gazed at the marble steps where so much had unfolded, years of frustration culminating in this moment. To think about how quickly everything had shifted. Yet here they were, finally recognized for their worth amid a family that had long overlooked them. With newfound wealth now within reach, Alex decided to invest wisely. A vision that formed was not one rooted in revenge or spite. It was anchored instead in community, a chance to create something meaningful from all they had endured. Conversations with Emily led to discussions on funding local initiatives, scholarships for students who faced similar struggles, and community gardens aimed at revitalizing neglected neighborhoods. This path toward generosity would serve as both healing for Alex and an opportunity to give back to those who needed it most. Creating projects in Maplewood. Whispers spread about how Alex was transforming their inheritance into something beneficial, rather than merely indulging in personal gain. The townsfolk began rallying around these efforts. Their appreciation brought warmth to what had once felt like a cold battleground against injustice. Amidst this new chapter blossoming before them, lay an undeniable tension. The strained relationship between siblings remained unresolved. Jordan's initial elation after winning everything turned sour, as he watched Alex reclaim not just property, but also respect and dignity previously denied. Regret painted across his features as he began realizing the depth of his actions during their mother's final days. Wasn't long before Henry approached Alex tentatively one evening after dinner at home, a gesture met with mixed feelings. "What of you?" he said quietly, sincerity etched into his tone. "You fought hard for what's right." His words carried weight, however. Unspoken questions lingered between them like shadows, a reminder that some fractures run deep. "Dad," Alex replied softly, "it's important we talk about everything that's happened." Taking a breath filled with courage born from self-reflection and growth over recent months. They spoke candidly about feelings long buried beneath family expectations and perceptions. Henry listened intently as wounds slowly began stitching themselves up through understanding dialogue. Instead of defensiveness, or blame, an effort made by both sides willing to confront uncomfortable truths together, despite pain lingering. Still, meanwhile, Jordan watched from afar the sibling rivalry twisting into something more complex than mere jealousy or resentment. It morphed into recognition. Forgiveness remained elusive, but hovered within reach if only bridges could be rebuilt slowly. Surely amidst fraught conversations ahead. In time, perhaps lessons learned would soften hearts hardened by competition. Not every battle ends cleanly wrapped up with neat conclusions, but sometimes messy paths lead towards reconciliation if nurtured gently along shared experiences. Moving forward together instead apart. Weeks turned into months filled with hopeful endeavors, blossoming under sunshine breaking through clouds overhead. Once more Alex embraced each day, knowing while scars might remain visible forevermore, they were now building anew, not only for themselves, but also within their family connections that deserved second chances too.